we're going to show you how to use our Advanced Assembly BOMs extension within Business Central. So the first thing you'll want to do is come up to the search and type in AAB or Advanced Assembly BOMs, and it will take you to our setup window. Now, unlike some of our other apps, there's no configuration to be done here other than turning the Activate Extension button on and generating your demo key. Once your demo key expires, feel free to reach out to us and we'll provide a activation key for further use. You can see here when your app expires, and all we'll need is this activation tenant ID in order to accurately license your tenant. So after all that's done, we can go back into our item list while we'll get started. The first four things that I do want to mention, which we'll go over in depth here in a second, is the functionality points of Advanced Assembly BOMs. So the first is the ability to use variants on Assembly BOMs. The second is the ability to use date controls on Assembly BOMs. The third is having default locations as to where the inventory will come out of on an assembly order when using a BOM. And then the fourth is having the ability on an assembly order to put back inventory that was part of the BOM. So maybe it's a kit where you don't always sell all of the items, so customers have the ability to not want something in the kit. That feature will let you click a button, which we'll show you here in a second, and actually put that item back into inventory and not sell it as part of the kit to the customer. So let's jump in and get started. I've created a computer starter kit in order to facilitate the demo for today. So we'll click on 1023 here. We'll go down and open this assembly BOM up. And the first piece that I want to touch on is the variant piece. So in this assembly BOM, we have 4 different lines. These 2 lines, of course, since they don't have a variant code assigned, anytime I try to assemble item 1023 up here, this computer starter kit, the keyboard and mouse bundle, which is a BOM in itself, will be included, and the Office 365 software package will also be included. So by default, since this is blank, both of those will always come into that assembly. And then based on the variant, if we have maybe the Apple variant in this case, it's going to put a MacBook Air in that assembly BOM. Whereas if I select the PC variant, it's going to put our Microsoft Surface 9. So in this case, I can sell either the Apple bundle or the PC bundle. No matter what I sell there, it's always going to come with a keyboard and mouse. It's always going to come with the Office 365 software package. And really, you're just toggling between, am I going to put a MacBook Air alongside with that order, or am I going to ship them Microsoft Surface 9? So that's the variant piece of it, and we'll get into that when we actually do an assembly order. The next is date controls. So maybe this MacBook piece of the assembly BOM is only valid from 2/1 to 2/28, right? So it's a February promotion. Maybe we don't usually sell this. Another good example, if I put, down here, maybe we're just throwing in a keyboard and mouse for a holiday special in December, right? So you can use those starting and ending dates to help facilitate when those pieces of the bill of materials will actually be valid. The next piece, the third piece that I mentioned, is going to be the default location. So in this case, maybe we only stock MacBook Airs in Chicago, right? But I'm in Dallas, so I want everything else to be assembled in Dallas, let's say. So I'm going to leave those blank, and on my assembly order, when we actually create it, I'll actually assemble it in Dallas, but you'll see that this Apple MacBook Air is actually going to come from the Chicago location. So those are the first 3 things. And then the fourth is the put back inventory, which we've got the toggle here, but I'll actually show you that when we get to the assembly BOM itself. So this is the main setup screen. Again, it's going to work mainly like you're working with BOMs today. And when we go into the assembly order, we'll show you how some of this functionality works. So let's jump over there. I'm going to get back out of here and go to an assembly order real quick. And we'll click in here. And I'm just going to make a new one from scratch. So let's come here. Let's grab that computer starter kit. Let's build it in Dallas. And let's do the Apple MacBook. And let's do 1. And now we can quickly see that it pulls 3 items like we just saw before, right? So we've got that MacBook Air because my variant code is Apple. We've got the computer and mouse, keyboard and mouse bundle here coming from Dallas. We've got the Office 365 package coming from Dallas, and that MacBook Air coming from Chicago, like we'd mentioned, right? So let's go ahead and actually switch that variant, and I'll show you what that's going to do. So let's switch it to PC. Let's refresh the lines. Now we can see that because the variant code was PC, I've now got that Microsoft Surface 9. So it's just, again, indicating based on the variant what is going to be part of that assembly order now. And then the fourth key that I had mentioned was the put back inventory, right? So let's say the client wants the keyboard and mouse package. They put that in their original order, right? But then they come back and say, hey, you know what? We've already got a keyboard that works fine for us, so we don't need the keyboard. We want to save, maybe $25 here that it shows it is. Okay, fine. We'll put that back into inventory. We won't include it as part of your order. That will bring your price down. Let's update the unit cost real quick. And now we can see that we've got $500, $50, $100, and we've got negative $25 because we're putting that keyboard back into stock, right? So that put back inventory here is essentially splitting up that keyboard mouse bundle that we had. So they'll get the Microsoft Surface 9, they'll get the mouse, and they'll get the software package. That bundle was $50, 25 of it for the keyboards going back. So the total unit cost here is going to be $625 for creating this assembly order. So again, 4 key pieces of functionality here that we'll be utilizing in our Advanced Assembly BOM extension. Additionally, one comment to make as well is that if you're using the planning worksheet to calculate needs for sales orders, if you have 2 different variants like we saw today on one specific kit, the planning worksheet will react accordingly. So it knows which default warehouses and dates and all that good stuff to pull from. If we had this computer bundle like we looked at today with demand, it will know how many Macs to pull versus how many PCs to pull based on the variants that you've selected here and what you have on your sales orders. So a lot of cool stuff here, kind of a happy medium in between that $70 and that $100, essentials or premium license in Business Central. This just gives you a little bit more functionality to get you closer to doing production orders without some of the extra features like routings and things like that. So hope you liked the demo today. Would love to hear your feedback on using this tool in practice. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to anybody on our team. Thanks, everybody.